Hey love, it's time to stop sleeping on yourself. You are your industry's best kept secret because you're holding back on your self-promotion, and we're going to have to shift that self-promotion shame. But specifically in this video, we're going to have to dive into some effective self-promotion strategies that you can use to help you amplify your visibility, allow you to call in high value clients, and allow you to take your brand to the next level like you desire and you deserve. Let's get you paid more. Now, there's a whole lot of mindset stories that starts to creep in when it comes to self-promotion. I did an entire video where I talked about how to shift your mindset around self-promotion. So we're going to go ahead and pop that one up for you. But there's also a second video that I did that talks about comparison. Self-promotion and the shame that comes with it comes from the mindset that I talk about there, but also from comparing yourself and for really just judging yourself, thinking, who am I to do this thing? Who am I supposed to be? Trying to fit in, right? A whole lot of imposter energy. So if there's a lot of like mindset stuff that's coming up for you around promoting yourself and talking about yourself and marketing yourself and showing up even more powerfully, then those are two videos for you to check out after you watch this video. But in this video, we're going to talk about, okay, as you shift through those stories, as you shift through those shames, as you shift through the mindset trash that's going on, now, Kira, how do I effectively show up, promote myself? So I'm going to talk about some strategies to do that. But the thing that I want to say is this: we can talk about mindset all day, but I'm a very like strategy and mindset type of person. What's the skill set and what's the mindset? And together, those things are going to help us step into the next level of whatever it is that we need to be doing. That's how I approach my messaging and sales work that I do in the coaching that I do with my clients. That's how I do it for myself as well. So I like to combine mindset and strategy. So that's why we did that video first, so that you can dive into like the mindset behind this. But at the end of the day, the more that you're able to stretch this muscle for yourself, stretch this skill set for yourself, the more you're able to build your self-promotion toolkit, if you will, the higher you are going to increase your confidence, the more conviction you have. But we can be confident all day, every day. But if we don't have things to actually back us up, then what are we doing? So a lot of times, imposter energy that women feel when it comes to promoting themselves is them feeling like they don't have something to back it up. They don't have what they need to say, yup, I'm not only confident in this, but here's clearly why you should pay me this or why you should value me at this level. And so when we combine the mindset and the skill set of this area when it comes to self-promotion, then you're able to amplify your visibility, sign more clients, charge more, 2 to 5x show rates. You're able to confidently actually charge that rate, command that rate, and have the messaging and the visibility and all of the things to warrant that rate so that people feel more confident in paying you that amount that you really want to and should be paid anyway. So how do I help you in this video not only have the confidence, but also add to it, right? Add to that with this, like, listen, I am not an imposter. Here are my receipts. Okay, let's talk about it. Now, the first thing that you're going to want to do is create what I call a brag board. Okay, now some of you have heard me talk about this before, but I stand by this. I love helping clients build this for themselves. And the most beautiful thing is there's so many women who have so much that should go on this brag board, but they don't put it on there. And that's a whole other conversation. Okay, but it's like,
Is it enough? Is it too old? I did it like 5 years ago. I did it 2 days ago. I didn't do enough of it. I only did it once or 2 times. Or
like all of these different things that you start to play in your mind, right? You just start these stories you start to have, right, that cause you not to be in a space where you're owning, no, I've done this, okay? There is no expiration date to things that you've accomplished, okay? I don't care if you did it 2 years ago. I don't care if you did it 5 years ago. I don't care if you did it 5 months ago. The thing still counts. And if you've been able to help multiple people do it, that just adds to it. So first and foremost is your brag board. Now, here are 3 things that I want you to think about, including inside of your brag board. First and foremost, the obvious is if there's any type of education that you've had in regards to what you do. So for me, I actually have my bachelor's in business. I actually had 2 majors. So I got business administration, and then I also went to school for hospitality and tourism management. And so you want to put whatever your education is. Then also you could go into more, like the school that I went to, it was among the top business schools in the US. So if there's some stats that you want to put there, we have an insane, it's called COB. I'm a JMU Duke, go Dukes, okay? It's the College of Business. And literally there was this class called Cobb 400, I believe it was called. And it was like the nightmare of business school. And it was like a whole thing. You spent your whole years, your whole like 3 years or whatever it was, thinking about that one class you were going to get to at your senior year. And you had to like pass that. And it involved all the core aspects of business, finance, and marketing. And you had to create a business and build this business and run this business and present it to like all of the business school leaders and all these things. It was a huge competition. So you can use your education. And then maybe if the program you went to had some level of status, then you can kind of talk about that. So that's something that you can add. The second thing is also if there's anything inside of your corporate career. So for me, I have been professionally in sales for the last 14 years. But if you really want to count, when I was 8 years old and I was 14 years old, I was selling then too. But if all you care about is my professional resume, then I was in corporate sales. I specialize in consultative selling, so value-based selling. I've always focused on that. I've never been one to sell on price. It was always what's the value of the thing, right? And that was literally taught that. I worked for a Fortune 500 company. I started with them as an intern. I managed 5, 6, 7-figure accounts and clients. I was responsible at one time for $5 million of business. I personally was responsible for that territory. I grew that territory by double digits in less than 12 months. So you being in a space where you have corporate experience, right? And not just like, oh, I had this role, but actually be able to talk about the things that you've done in that role. And then I want you to think too, sometimes it's not like the actual role that you had. You also want to think beyond just the title of the role and like what the job description said. Sit down and think about, well, what else did you personally contribute? Like what were things that were specific to you that you brought to that role that other people wouldn't necessarily bring to that role? And so I think about this on a couple occasions. So first and foremost, there was one year where myself and my 2 managers were planning what we call a national sales meeting. And it's a huge meeting where they bring in about 450 sales individuals from all over the country. And we're literally creating sales trainings and things for them to experience over a couple of days. So this is myself and my 2 managers. So there's only 3 of us, and we're having to be responsible for this meeting for 450 people. And we also have to deal with the C-suite, right? So all of the directors, their managers, a director, VP level, president level. And so we are basically going to all of them, and we have all these meetings, and we're getting all of their sales initiatives. We're getting what are the core things, offers that they're selling, the core products that they're selling, what's the core initiatives. We're looking at the marketing trade budget. We are looking at all of these different elements from the top to see what is the sales strategy that we're now going to give to the 450 people that need to go execute it. But for us to do that, we have to work cross-functionally. So we have to go from here's what they want at the C-suite level. And now we're going down to, okay, now we got to get approval. We got to go through marketing. We got to go through all these other teams that are going to support that goal before we ever get it to the actual sales reps and have to now train them. So we went from top all the way down to, okay, 450 people, here are the sales trainings, here's the sales initiatives, like here's how we want you to sell it, here's what will help you, here's sales tools that you'll create, all that type of stuff. Now, when I was in that role, I didn't know what this meant at that time, but now that I am full-time in my own business, I've been full-time at the time of this recording for 8 years. And so helping women find their confidence with their sales strategies and their sales messaging to make more money, all that type of stuff. So I didn't realize this at the time, but y'all, I didn't have this thought until at least like 6 years in my business, where I was like, I would tell people like, oh yeah, one of my roles was helping with like our national sales meeting. We would train 450 salespeople. And those were record-breaking years. The years where I supported myself and my 2 managers, we supported the sales meeting, right? Those were record-breaking years that sales team went and performed. Basically just be in a space of forgetting about that. But then it's like, wait a minute, I've been training on sales before I was coaching. And so there was an aha that I had. And mind you, I had been in business at least 5 or 6 years before I made that connection. I always talked about the fact that I was in sales, but that specific role that I was in, where I literally was coaching on sales, right? Working with putting them into presentations. I didn't realize like how much I was like, I've always been coaching with sales. And then I can even think about the 2 sales individuals. I mean, they had like 30, 40, I wouldn't even say 30, 40, probably 50, 60 years of experience. They're probably retired now. 2 gentlemen, sweetest guys. Like when you think about sales and bro marketing, they are so the opposite. I learned from these individuals. I'll call them D and V. I learned from these 2 individuals, and their hearts were so beautiful, and they took time like in their teaching and trainings. And listen, I would sign up for extra trainings because I love learning from them. I was in different roles where I was the salesperson, but then I was also in roles where I'm supporting from a sales operations standpoint. That's actually what our team was called, sales operations. Like, how do we help other people sell better? So I'm like, oh, I've had elements of teaching sales always. And then the other thing is there was actually a point in that role where there was a specific specific team that not only do you train the people that sell under the company, but there's also other like brokers and other companies that sell on your behalf as well. And so when I was in the field, so that was when I was in the corporate office, when I had roles where I was in the field, okay, because I had like 4 different roles or something with the company. So 2 of the roles where I was out in the field as an actual sales representative, manager, territory manager, all that type of stuff. I was not in corporate office supporting sales ops. So when I was in the field, I then had to train my clients, right? So brokers and our distributor representatives and whatnot on how to sell our products. So this could be anywhere from 50 to 100, right? And I would get like raving reviews, like I was the only black girl. I was the only girl on some of my teams, and then I was the only black person on some of my teams. Well, no, on all of my teams, actually. A lot of them are old white men. They were older than me, but I always had this like charismatic energy around, like, I'm not going to come in and tell you what to do. That's not how you sell, right? You can sell to even the old people who know how to sell, even have more sales experience than you, right? So being able to show them in a powerful way how to sell our products and how to sell to clients and things like that. So even training them. So anyway, my point is I fell in love with that side of my role. Like me being able to teach sales and all that. These are just 2 examples of moments where I didn't realize this back then, but I always was training on sales in some capacity, even to the point where, y'all, I would on my own, right? I'm not on the marketing team. I'm on the sales team. I would on my own create my own sales marketing materials, and I would make these 1-pagers. And when I tell you, I would get featured in our like newsletter, I would get featured at different sales meetings because of these like 1-pagers that I started making. Marketing would use them, and then they would take them and go make them better. But like I started using mine, and like my team would ask me, can you send me another one? Can you do this one? Can you make me one like this? Can you do this? For me, I love that. And I didn't even understand the power of what that was, but I love creating sales materials to better help somebody better communicate the power of what it is we're selling or what we're doing or whatnot. I want you to think about times like that in your corporate career. Don't just say, oh, I did this for X amount of years. No, really go through and dissect how are things that I did in this role and your education, both of them, how are these things that contribute, right, to what I do now, but not just like the role on paper. Tell a story, right? Tell a story about how you've actually been doing this, right? So that helps build your credibility. That's what we're talking about in the self-promotion with this brag board. So have elements from your education, have elements from your corporate career. And then the other thing that I want you to do inside of this brag board is I want you to talk about accomplishments that you have had. So if there are awards that you've gotten, so you probably can't see, I have like 2 or 3 awards that I've gotten as a business owner. So from the YWCA, from the Black and Latino Achievers, and then a couple other awards that I've gotten. There's a Woman of the Year award where they pick 10 women. So resourceful women, excuse me. So those are awards that I have. So you can think about awards that you have and accolades and accomplishments that you have under your belt, not only as an entrepreneur, but also as an employee as well, in your education, in your community. Sky's the limit, because all of them really just show a level of leadership that you're able to bring to whatever role that you're in. So don't just limit them to, they have to be based off of me as an entrepreneur. They could also be things in other parts of your life, personally and professionally, entrepreneur, corporate, doesn't matter. So those are some things you want to bring inside of your brag board to help you build your confidence, but also to put them down on paper. Like, sis, listen, I'm not new to this. I'm true to this, okay? These are also really great to add to your About Me page on your website, and also on your speaker sheet for your like getting booked for events and speaking and things like that, which we'll talk more about. One of the things, if you're joining us inside of Money in the Message, is we're going to actually have a whole month dedicated to your speaker sheet, dedicated to your signature talk, things like that. And then if you are going to miss the live version of it, then you will have access to the course that we're going to create around it, but you're going to get access to that either way inside of Money in the Message, because I know that a big thing that my clients love to do, that I love to do, that you want to do, is speak more. So you having these initial elements of your brag board will help you with your About Me page, your bio, your speaker sheet, and also as we're talking about building your confidence as well. Before I move on, I'm gonna throw a little bit of mindset in there. I know I've talked about the mindset video we have on self-promotion, so definitely dive into that. But something that I didn't talk about in that video, and I want to mention here when it comes to mindset, specifically when you're talking about your brag board, is this. Some of you are going to put time limits on how long you can use a certain accomplishment, or like, well, it didn't get this result in my business, or it didn't get this result in my career, or whatever it is. You're going to make stories and you're going to try to quantify it, and it doesn't feel enough and it doesn't feel big enough and all that. Here's a question I want you to ask yourself, okay? What would my client at step 0, okay, or even step negative 100, what would they say about this thing right now? And or what would they say about where I am now? If my client is at negative 100 or my client's at step 0, so they're over here and the award or the accolade or the career or the education or something that I'm talking about is here, is that further along than where they are? Yes. And then if you're here now, so let's say you keep thinking you need to be over here before you can use it. And you're like, oh my God, I gotta be here. I'm comparing myself. I gotta be in business for this long. I gotta have this many clients. Okay, but you're here right now. Okay, but your client's here. And then what you're using on your brag board might be here, or it might be somewhere between here and there. My point is, I hope you understand, it's literally about your clients moving closer and closer to where they truly want to be. And so I find that so many times when I start working with women, and I'm talking about women who've been in their business for a year, I'm talking about women who've been doing this for 10 years, I'm talking about clients of mine who've been doing this for 20, 30 years, okay? They still have these moments where they're like, is it enough? And that's like the biggest question that I see high value expert women asking themselves on their journey to really be in that deeper level of confidence and really truly conviction and unwavering unapologeticness, okay, energy when it comes to them showing up and shining and monetizing their gifts and their genius and their message. So stop wondering if it is enough. You are going to add more to your brag board as you go. But for now, use what you have. And look at me, I'm 8 years full time. I'm still talking about stuff that I did in my, corporate career 8, 10, 12, 11 years ago. I can still bring that up. They don't expire. In 20 years, I can still talk about them. You know why? Because that created a level of my professional sales experience that I then built on and realized how much I loved sales and teaching sales specifically to women and helping them expand their mindset around their high value expertise so they could go monetize their message and their shine all the way to the bank on their own instead of just doing it for a company that's only going to give you a 2% raise anyway. The second strategy to create even more effective self-promotion for yourself is going to be you need to have a high value signature method. If you're going to be a high value expert woman, if you're going to be building your muscle when it comes to self-promotion, if you're going to be amplifying your visibility, you want to attract high value clients. Well, guess what? What are they going to be buying? You need their buy-in into your high value signature method. Okay, this is your methodology. Some people call it their framework. This could be your process. This is like the core things that you talk about, that you teach on, that you help them transform on when they're working with you in your products, your services, your programs, your offers, your events, your content. This is the thing that you're helping them with. Now, do not confuse this with a signature offer. I know we see this all day, every day online. Have a signature offer, have a signature offer. No, I am talking about your high value signature method. Here's what's really cool. When you have a high value signature method, how you get your client from here to here that is unique to you, that is built for you, and you're able to effectively communicate that. When you have that, you are able to then take it and turn it into multiple offers. So not just a signature offer, but if you want to have courses, if you want to have a mastermind, if you want to do a 3-day event, if you want to do one of my clients is working on a retreat event right now, if you want to have insert whatever offer, your one-on-one, if you want to do consulting, if you want to have people to license your intellectual property, then you get to do that. But you only do that because you have a signature high value method. Okay, so I'm talking more than the offer. You can have multiple offers that all stem from your method. Now, I did an entire series all about monetizing your message, business models. I talked about the top 3 types of business models. And specifically, there's one video called Confused about high ticket versus low ticket. And so that's where I am talking about the fact that signature offers and all that good stuff. So you can kind of dive into those videos after you watch this one, because that's going to definitely heighten the amounts that you're able to command. That's going to heighten your value. So you having a core signature method that you then use to create your business model, or for some of you, you're already in business, you want to refine your business model. One of the videos in that series is 3 or 4, I can't remember, but one of the videos in that series, literally just go to the monetizing your message playlist and you're going to see them. You'll literally see it says refining your business model. So that was something that I started doing, I would say after about 250,000 in my business, maybe like that $300,000 mark. And then the high ticket versus low ticket, you'll hear me talk about, well, this is what I use for my first $100,000 in business. This is what I use to make my next $100,000 in business. And then this is what I've used, for example, 250, 500K, that type of thing. So I did a whole series on business models. You can go into that. But how you going to be a high ticket value woman, expert, and you walking around with these offers that are not high ticket, not high value? And I do talk about the fact that high ticket doesn't always have to mean it's only a higher price point. Sometimes you have offers where they're delivering high value and maybe they're a mid-ticket price point. So I'm going to attach that. And I don't want to confuse y'all. If you're coming into money in the message, then we'll talk about it. If you are already in in Money in the Message, come to our call this week so that I can consult you on your offers. I can do an offer audit for you if I haven't already done so, or if you have a different offer that you're creating or whatnot, I'll support you on that in our call this week. But go watch those videos inside of the series for more on that. What I'm trying to point out here is when it comes to your high value signature method, you want to have a couple of offers underneath that method. So you have different ways to teach. So for example, I take my signature Money in the Message method, I take my high impact messaging strategy work that I do, and I basically teach that inside of, let's say, for example, a 3-day workshop. It could be in person or it can be virtual. Then I also have put it into a course, right? And I've made $30,000 from a course where I literally just like packaged it to that and taught it. I've also had group programs where I've made multiple 6 figures from those, and they could be like 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that. But they're like group programs where I'm just working with people and teaching them in that capacity. And then I've also had inner circles and masterminds. I've also done one-on-one, right? And my one-on-one is a 5-figure investment. So we're talking a $15,000 to $25,000 investment. And then I also have other coaches and other consultants in the industry that have seen me speak at different events. We've become friends, and they've literally said, Kira, can you come teach this to my people? And I'll get 4-figure check, or for some of them a 5-figure check, for me to literally go and teach this method that I bring into my program and I teach my clients. I also can do content, right? I can do YouTube videos and things like that from it. So when you have a signature method, it is so much more than just the one offer. So many people confuse this. The method is your process of how you do it, right? So I have a 4-step signature method and a process that I use to help you get from here to here in this amount of time, whatever that might be for you. So hey, if you're coming into Money in the Message, in the next 4 months, I want to help you 2 to 5x your income, and I'm going to take you through my signature Money in the Message messaging method. It's going to help you step into a space where you're able to refine how you are positioning your most powerful parts of your work. We're going to help you hone in on what your signature core method is so that you can get known and get paid for that. 2, we're going to help you dive deeper into who really is the highest level client that most wants to pay for that. A lot of you are talking to people that don't even want to pay you for what it is that you do. They will never pay you, but yet you're putting a lot of energy and time and effort into being visible for them, creating content for them. You're trying to convince them that they need what you offer. Meanwhile, they're like, oh, I don't really want it. I'm wasting your time. Or can I pay $50 for this thing that I know I should be paying $5,000 for? They're trying to disrespect you with their discounts and all that type of stuff. Meanwhile, you got other people who really need what you offer and are actually willing and wanting to make an investment, but your messaging is lowballing you and is talking to these people over here, and that's not attracting them. So they're going about their business and going to find somebody else. So that's the second thing we're going to help you do. The third thing we're going to help you do is this, right? So I could keep going on, but you want to be able to talk about what your signature method is and merge it into how you talk about your offer. So it's art, it's a science. Come into Money in the Message. I can definitely help you with that. All right. So the third thing that you want to make sure that you have, right? The third strategy around self-promotion is, y'all, social proof. You being able to display not only I have this signature method and here's my brag board of what I've been able to do for myself, but you being able to communicate now here's what I've been able to do for clients is gold. And you know what? I see a lot of high value expert women who are not using their testimonials. I want you to think right now, and I want you to comment below. This is a loving space. This is a shine space. It's safe. Do you currently have a testimonial from a client that you have not put out, that you have not shared, that you haven't talked about? And then follow up to that. If you say, Kira, I have put it out. Okay. Have you put it out and it actually calls in more of those clients? One thing that I love to do with my clients is something that I call testimonials to transactions. I love, this is just like, it's fun to me, but it just makes my clients money too. I love going through their client testimonials with them because so many times you get a testimonial and you copy and paste it exactly how it is. And then you just like put it out and you think that it's supposed to work. And what happens is that the person reading that, they don't always see themselves in that. They don't always like click. It doesn't always click, right? They don't connect the dots of like, oh, it helps me do this. Like it'll help that person do this. So I have a process that I've built. And so I help my clients go through their testimonials and identify language in that we're going to use in their sales pitches and conversations and copy and content. 1, 2, we want to take that testimonial, we want to infuse it into your sales pitches and events and conversations and things along those lines. But 3, you can also use those as content, and the combination of all of those helps you create more transactions. It helps you bring in more of those exact clients. So it's an art and a science of doing that. I love helping my clients do that inside of Money in the Message. So you want to make sure you're building social proof, but don't just like, here's the testimonial and bam, make sure you understand how should you actually be infusing that into your sales messaging and into your sales content so that you can elevate how you're communicating the results that your signature method helps your clients get. The two of them are like Siamese twins. Like, we have our signature method and we need to have our social proof. Like, here's my method and here's what it's done for clients. That is going to be like the number one way that you can make sure that you amplify your client attraction. I have a lot of clients who come in who have mindset stuff that comes up around this. Like,
Here, well, what if I don't want to talk about them? What if I don't feel like they're that good? What if other people don't think they're that good?
make sure of integrity. If you feel more comfortable, make sure that you get permission, right, from your clients if that makes you feel better. Or sometimes if you feel like, you'll see a lot of times when I use testimonials just to be out of respect, or sometimes people don't want like their whole first name, especially if I'm using like money stuff. Like, people are like, oh yeah, you can tell people I made the money, but like, I don't want my whole, like, everybody knowing that I made $30,000 or whatever it is. So sometimes we'll say, okay, cool, we'll like just block out their last name and we'll just put their first name. Or sometimes we'll put a thing like a emoji over their face or whatnot. And sometimes lately what I've been doing just to eliminate all that, we'll just take the screenshot of the actual result. And so I'll actually pop up some different results up on the screen so you can see some of my client results, so you can see my social proof, so you can see what my clients are doing with their next level high impact messaging and breaking through that self-promotion mindset and shame and stories and the stories they created around being visible and selling and showing up and all the things. So make sure that you are building your social proof, understand how to make sure that you are using your testimonials in your content, in your copy, and put it out, y'all. Put it out. Let people see it. Stop being afraid. Stop hiding behind what it is that you do. What are you really nervous about? What are you really nervous about? What are you nervous about being called out on? What are you nervous about? I really want you to take a moment and think about that, and then DM it to me, because I actually want to know and I want to support you with that too. Okay. All right. And if you have a biz bestie, a friend who's going through that, tag them in this video so that we can get it together. Okay. Because I see so many high value expert women who they're not talking about their testimonials enough. And there's a lot of mindset stuff with it, but then it's also like, here, how do I infuse it in without just saying, here's what my client said, but instead, hey, today I worked with a client and we talked about X, Y, and Z. Is this something that you're struggling with? What actually happened was we went through my signature process where step one was this, and within X amount of time of her using step one, she was able to get this result. Like, I can sit and say, hey, one of my clients, she came in working with me. She had been in business for 3 years. She was making $2,000 to $3,000 every single month for 2 to 3 years in her business consistently, but she was ready to double, if not more, her business. She wanted to make more money. She wanted to spend more time with her family. She wanted to be able to make the investments that she wanted to make as far as growing her team in her business and more. And she wanted to increase her own salary. She knew that the money was in the message. She knew that she was not communicating what it is that she does powerfully. So when she would have sales conversations with people, they wouldn't really understand like why she was charging so much. They would go to other people, and she started making it mean something about herself. She started making it mean something about her level of expertise, her capabilities. Her stuff might not be enough, but in actuality, her process behind the scenes, when I started working with her, it was the bomb.com. It was amazing. It was incredible. She was on fire. She just didn't understand how do you effectively position it in a powerful way. And she started putting it out in her content because she tried to do it on her own, but she was not talking about the right things, and she was over delivering. So she was going way over this end of the spectrum, putting out too much, and then you struggle with like putting out not enough. So how do you find the balance between what do I talk about, right, without giving my whole framework away? There's an art and a science. When she came in working with me and explained all this to me, I said, oh my goodness, this is very clear. You have an amazing expertise. Your method is thebomb.com. I'm going to take you through my signature process of how I help you refine, right, fine tune your current framework, your methodology, right, so that we can amplify your authority. Within 1 week, she literally was able to go into her framework and it felt completely different to her. She knew that it was still the same framework, but when I read it back to her, when we did the work through the pre-work that we give you and we went through the process I take you through, she literally was like, here, take my money. I want to buy my own thing. Like, here, you just help me believe in my framework so much. You help me articulate what it is, and you help me do it in a way that doesn't spoil all the things that they get when they pay me. It just helps me talk about it enough to make them want to buy it. And now I want to buy it myself. And do you know, she went from making $2,000 to $3,000 a month, right? So making $3,000 a month, that was her highest month that she had ever had in business up until that point for 2 to 3 years, to actually signing multiple $3,000 clients into that offer within 30 days. That's what's available for you when you start to use high impact messaging. And that's just one example of the elements of the power message principles that we brought in and that we use with her. There's other things that we go through in Money in the Message that also helped her, and I cannot wait to support you too. Are you in a space where you're wanting to 2x your revenue? Are you in a space where you're wanting to call in more quality clients within the next 30 days? I can't wait to help you have that shift in your messaging too. Let's work together, or whatever that is. Now, I could have made that call to action way stronger, but some of y'all are like, here, I'll take my money. So I want you to be able to do that with your testimonials. You need to be able to tell your story. So there's a little bit of storytelling there as well. But anyway, that is testimonials to transactions, and that's going to help you build your social proof. Now, number four, what you want in place when you are building that high value expert energy and you are self-promoting yourself, and a strategy you want in place is consistency. Specifically, you want to have specific content that is promoting what it is that you do. So it's content dedicated to promoting your expertise, dedicated to promoting elements of your brag board, dedicated to promoting elements of storytelling and case studies and testimonials from your clients. So you basically want to look at your content and have different types of content, but all together you wanted to consistently be positioning you as a high value expert, building in those self-promotion strategies that we are talking about. Here's the thing, consistency is the name of the game. So high value experts don't continue to flake. They don't show up today and then go hide, and then show up next week and then go hide, or only show up when they need money, or like they don't do that. And so you want to make sure that you're putting out content consistently. That doesn't mean that you have to be the one physically showing up live in that second every single day, every time. No, you can start out that way. I started that way, right? So 2016, really 17, 18, like listen, Kiara was going live every single day. That was how I made my first, I think I got maybe to like 150,000 or 80,000. Don't quote me, I'm not sure. But like, I know I had passed like the 6-figure mark there, but that wasn't where I wanted to play. I went live, right? Like doing content consistently, like live or whatever, more back then, making like my first 6 figures or like breaking through that 6-figure mark, to like when I make like multiple 6 figures, like 2, 3, 4, 500, 600K, like not going live at all, right? Not going live a lot, right? And so going into a space where you eventually you will shift that, right? So I'm not saying if you started there, it's all good, sis. You'll grow, right? But you want to get to a space where you can leverage more things. So leverage systems, leverage automation, leverage a team sharing content for you, be able to repurpose. That's one of the best things that I could ever refer my clients to do, is to learn the art of repurposing. Y'all think about it like this. I right now physically can tell you about content that made me at least $10,000, $15,000. I can tell you about content that's made me $15,000 to $40,000 right now. And I can tell you about that content every single time I put it out, it makes me money. And I can tell you about it when I talked about it, and I think it was 2017 was the first year. 2018, I can remember signing clients from it from 2019. I can think about content from 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. I know 2023, 2024, I don't remember if I used in 2022. But I can think about, in 2024, if I didn't say that, I can think about content like that. So when you are really honing in on your tried and true message, that's what I love helping you do when I'm working with you. It's like, what's your core main marketing messaging that you can use over and over again to make you money? Now, of course, I expand, I grow, I evolve. I don't want to get too bored. So I'm going to talk about things maybe in a different way or not, right? If it works, it works. But if there are elements of it where I'm like, oh, I want to tweak this, or I want to add this, or like, man, my framework is different today than my framework or my signature method was back then, which it is, right? So there's new elements that I have added. It's still the core, right? I talk about messaging, I talk about monetization, I talk about mindset, but now there are some like expanded parts of it, right? So you want to be able to like update your content, right? But you still want to have a level of like cohesiveness. You want to have consistency there. And so what's going to happen for you is when you do self-promotion activities and you are building that muscle for yourself, you just showing up today and self-promoting and then going and hiding next week isn't going to do it justice, right? You showing up for a week consistently or 2 weeks consistently, doing really great, and then you like going away is not going to do it justice. People are not going to feel like they can trust you.
Why would I give you my money if you show up one day, but then you hide and then you come back again? Are you going to do that when we work together?
Right. And so I want you to really think about that. High value expert women don't do that. When a person is paying me a 4 or 5 figure check to come in and teach my method, I can't be like flaking, like, okay, I'm going to show up this day, I'm not going to show up this day, I'm going to show up this day, I'm not going to show up that way. Now, of course, if you have boundaries and things like that you want to put in place, put them in place. Hey, I do not do this during this time and that time. That's different from you. Like, that's different. You're powerfully declaring, these are the hours that I work. This is when I show up and this is when I do this. That's different from, yes, I'm going going to show up and then hide, right? So that's one thing about being in some program, in a space like Money in the Message, is that you get to be a part of a community that when you have those moments, because we're human, sis, and they happen, but you do not let yourself sit in those moments. And you have a coach and you have a community of Shine Sisters who won't let you sit in that space either. That's going to add to your consistency as you promote yourself. And now you are building your, toolkit, right? By the way, shameless plug. If you want to hear me talk more about how to turn your content into clients, I have a whole content to clients playlist that you can go check out and see my method and see how I do it and all that jazz. Go ahead and check it out after you watch this video. 4 ways for you to effortlessly, effectively start to amplify your self-promotion strategies and toolkit. You want to have your brag board, talk about your education, talk about your career, your corporate career experiences, talk about accolades and accomplishments and things like that that you have been able to acquire. And then you want to step into a space of having your signature method. This is a non-negotiable. This is a non-negotiable. This is a non-negotiable. If you do not feel clear and confident in your signature method, we need to talk about it, sis, because then you're not selling it as powerfully as you could. You're not charging the rates, and you're definitely not commanding those rates either. So we need to work on that together. I've had clients who have a method that has made them money, $50,000, $100,000, $250,000, but they're like, Kiara, there's still elements of it that I'm not like effectively talking about. And we find those. And literally, I've had one client, she had like hundreds of clients already. Within 2 days of us working on this, she had already signed 8 new clients, literally from this new, like the new elements of her method that we were able to extract out and give her ways to talk about it, because there's people in your audience who maybe they're not clearly understanding it. And so they're not converting as much. And so we want to help you elevate how you sell your framework. So whether you feel like you already have it or you don't, I can help you with that. Then number 3, you want to make sure that you are building social proof. Make sure that you understand how to not only get your testimonials, but how to actually talk about them and communicate them effectively and use them to elevate your content and your messaging and add more to your self-promotion. So now it's not just you promoting yourself. Other people are talking about how amazing your method and you are. And then you want to be consistent with your content. So definitely check out my content to clients playlist. Listen, sis, if you are sitting here and you're watching this and you're like, you want me to help you personally with an element of what I've talked about here with your business, I want you to head over to grab a one-on-one strategy session with me. I don't have a lot of these open every single month. So when they're booked, they're booked. But sis, if you want one and we can work together on these elements for your business and your brand to get you into your next level sales messaging and mindset, then I would love for us to meet and connect, and I get to love on you and be with you, and we get to have a customized call and build out the next level of your messaging. Hit the link below to go ahead and grab a next level sales messaging strategy session with me, and we can work together on this now, not later, for you. All right, love. Until next time, love, shine, and success. Make sure that you share this video with a biz bestie, a mastermind sister, an accountability buddy who needs to hear it. And I want you to tell me in the comments, how are you feeling now about self-promotion? Did we amp up your confidence? Did we give you a new strategy to think about? Did we confirm something that maybe you were working on or you had started, but maybe it's not as good, as powerful as it could be? Let me know inside the comments what's coming up for you, and I may just do a whole video on it too. Bye, y'all.